More on Justin Trudeau's high-flying ways. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.Media. We've told you before about Justin Trudeau's use and abuse of the government's private Challenger jets, these luxury little planes that will fly him and his entourage around. It's something that Liberals used to get quite upset at Stephen Harper for doing, and now that he's in office, Justin Trudeau is using these same jets at a rate about double Stephen Harper in terms of cost to the taxpayers. We brought you this story already, but in going through the documents that included items such as flying an empty plane to Montreal to bring Justin Trudeau back, save him an hour worth of driving time while his motorcade drove back empty. In addition to things like that, I spotted something in the access to information documents that I thought had to be a mistake. It had to be a clerical error. Extra paperwork was filed and nobody noticed. What I'm talking about is that it looked like they sent two planes to Quebec City within a half hour of each other, actually, when the Trudeaus took their vacation in the middle of February. They went up for Carnival. And I thought, this can't be. But I contacted the Air Force, who are in charge of these planes and in charge of flying Trudeau around. And I said, is this a clerical error or did two planes go? Much to my horror, it's that two planes were flown up to Quebec City for him and his family. And, of course, one of the nannies. At 16:06, check this out on page 15 of our PDF document, at 16:06, that's 6 minutes after 4 on February the 12th, a plane left Ottawa and landed just over an hour later in Quebec City. You scroll down a page and you see that an empty plane left at 16:36, that's 4:36, and landed about an hour later in Quebec City. Now, the first plane, it doesn't show where it went next, but the second plane, the one that flew empty to Quebec City, it sat there for 3 days and then flew Trudeau, his family, and of course one of the nannies back to Ottawa. Why on earth would they do this? These planes cost a lot. Any plane costs a lot to fly around. It costs a lot to operate. And I don't have a problem with someone like the Prime Minister who has very detailed security needs using a government jet when they need to travel. But why send two? Well, according to the Air Force spokesperson I talked to, the first plane was retasked to another mission, and so off it went. Why not just swap out the pilots and swap out the planes? Why have another one go and sit there for 3 days waiting to bring the Trudeaus back? It's just another example of his super elite status. It's another example of him wasting taxpayers' dollars. This may seem petty to some of you, especially if you're Trudeau lovers, but remember, the Liberals harped at the Conservatives and Stephen Harper for a decade about his use. And while Stephen Harper, over a 3-year period, was averaging about $52,000 worth of usage charged back to the taxpayers, Justin Trudeau is at about $100,000 for the months that we've seen so far. Does that seem right? Especially when so much of it is vacation? I mean, this guy took a lot of vacation time. We'll get into more of that in future videos, and abuse by cabinet ministers as well. But two planes for one vacation? If you think this is crazy, if you think Justin Trudeau needs to scale back, then I invite you to sign our petition at superelite.ca. We're not saying he can't use the planes. We're not saying he's got to fly coach with the rest of us. But for goodness sakes, have a little bit of common sense and a bit of respect for taxpayers' money. Sign the petition now, superelite.ca. Share it on social media as well so that Canadians know what's happening with their taxpayers, their tax dollars. Superelite.ca, that's superelite.ca. Sign now.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.